Imagine walking into a room and feeling an inexplicable pull toward one person or a sudden heaviness near another. No words have been spoken, no obvious gestures made, yet something invisible has already communicated with you, altering your mood, thoughts, and even the choices you are about to make. That something is not imagination. It is not coincidence. It is the subtle luminous field we call the human aura, a living, breathing library of your soul's history, present condition, and potential destiny. The aura is more than a glow painted around saints in ancient icons. It is a dynamic interface between your inner world and the infinite ocean of universal forces. Every joy you have ever felt, every fear you have ever carried, every dream you have ever dared to imagine, these are woven into this invisible tapestry of light and energy. To those who can perceive it, the aura reveals more about you than your words, your actions, or even your face. In the hidden schools of antiquity, the aura was understood not merely as an energy field, but as a spiritual organ, a transmitter, a receiver, and, most importantly, a shaper of destiny. Just as a seed cannot grow into a tree without the fertile soil surrounding it, your soul cannot fully unfold without the right nourishment within your aura. If the aura is clouded, fragmented, or weakened, your life path bends away from its highest purpose. But when it is clear, coherent, and vibrant, it becomes a magnetic field drawing you towards synchronicities, opportunities, and inner awakenings that feel almost miraculous. In this exploration, we will uncover the esoteric function of the human aura, the way it shapes not only your present reality but the arc of your spiritual evolution. We will journey through the ancient wisdom of mystery schools, the subtle sciences of sacred traditions, and modern insights that bridge mysticism with energy awareness. We will decode the aura's hidden language, its role as both guardian and guide, and the methods by which you can strengthen and refine this luminous shield. By the end, you will not only understand the aura as a concept, you will feel it as a living presence, a companion, and a map to your highest destiny. Long before the word aura entered the vocabulary of modern metaphysics, ancient civilizations already spoke of the luminous body surrounding every living being. Across cultures and continents, the concept appears under different names, each carrying fragments of the same profound truth. In ancient Egypt, priestly initiates described the Ku, a radiant energy body representing the immortal essence of the soul. Temple walls depicted pharaohs and gods encased in halos of light, symbolizing not only divine authority, but a perfected spiritual state in which the aura had been purified and made strong enough to withstand chaos. In India, the yogic tradition spoke of the pranamaya kosha, an energy sheath interwoven with the chakras, through which prana, the life force, flows. This luminous sheath was understood as both a mirror and a mold. It reflected one's current state of being while simultaneously shaping the conditions of one's future life. A clouded pranamaya kosha could disrupt health and destiny, while a radiant one could magnetize spiritual progress. In early Christian and Byzantine art, saints and holy figures were depicted with golden halos, not as symbolic ornamentation, but as artistic approximations of the intensified auric field radiating from those in deep union with the divine. The halo was both literal and symbolic, a sign of the soul's resonance with higher realms. Chinese Taoist alchemy also understood the aura, referring to it as Wei Qi, the protective energy that surrounds and shields the body. In their view, it was intimately connected to moral conduct, emotional balance, and spiritual practice. A pure and strong Wei Qi allowed a practitioner to maintain harmony with the Tao, ward off malevolent forces, and preserve vitality deep into old age. Esoteric philosophy consistently presents the aura as a living archive, a field recording the imprints of every thought, word, and action. The theosophical teachings of the 19th and early 20th centuries elaborated on this idea, describing the aura as an electromagnetic extension of consciousness itself. Within its shifting colors and patterns lie the story of who you are, where you have been, and what you are becoming. Yet, the most important function of the aura, known to the mystery schools, is causal rather than decorative. In other words, it doesn't merely reflect your inner state, it shapes your path. The aura is like the wind filling the sails of a ship. It determines the speed and direction of your journey through life. If the currents within it are disordered, you may drift or be pulled into storms. But if its currents are aligned, life moves with a strange, almost supernatural ease. In the philosophies of Hermeticism, Kabbalah, and Rosicrucianism, the aura was viewed as a dynamic link between the visible and invisible worlds, a place where higher intelligences, archetypal forces, and spiritual impressions could be received. In this view, refining the aura is not just an act of self-care, but a sacred responsibility. The clearer and more harmonious your aura, the more faithfully you can serve as a channel for truth, wisdom, and healing. It is within this lineage of thought that we can begin to approach the deeper question, not just what the aura is, but why it exists, and how it functions as an architect of destiny itself. Imagine your aura as a subtle ocean of light, surrounding you in every direction. This ocean is invisible to the ordinary eye but palpable to those with heightened perception. In esoteric terms, the aura is not simply energy in the vague, modern sense. It is a structured field composed of multiple interwoven layers, each operating at a different vibrational frequency. The outermost perception of it might appear as shifting colors, but its true complexity is far deeper. Think of it as a multi-layered architecture. The etheric layer, closest to the body, it mirrors your physical health and vitality. Here, life force flows in a constant exchange between you and your environment. Any illness or injury first leaves its mark here before manifesting in the body. The emotional layer, this layer holds the resonance of your feelings, both transient moods and deep-seated emotional patterns. It is fluid and dynamic, changing with every thought and reaction. The mental layer, composed of the forms and structures of your thoughts, beliefs, and intellectual focus. This layer shapes the blueprint through which you interpret reality. The spiritual layers, extending outward. These finer fields connect you to higher consciousness, spiritual guides, and archetypal forces. Here resides the why of your existence, the spiritual intentions you set before entering this life. In the ancient mystery schools, initiates were taught that the aura is a magnetic field, not metaphorically, but literally in terms of subtle electromagnetism. Just as a magnet organizes iron filings into patterns, your aura organizes the circumstances of your life. People, opportunities, and challenges are drawn into your orbit not by chance, but because their energetic signature resonates or clashes with the patterns in your field. This is why two people with identical skills and opportunities can walk entirely different life paths. The geometry of their aura determines the kinds of experiences that can enter. If your field is cluttered with unresolved emotional debris, it acts like static in a radio signal, attracting chaotic and repetitive life patterns. But when the field is coherent, harmonized, and luminous, it becomes a precise transmitter, calling in the people, insights, and events that match your higher purpose. Another profound function of the aura is intercommunication. Your field is constantly in conversation with the fields of others, often below the threshold of conscious awareness. Have you ever felt an instant sense of trust or distrust toward someone you just met? That is the subtle intelligence of your aura reading theirs, interpreting the data long before words are exchanged. Moreover, the aura is not static. It responds to your inner work. Meditation, prayer, ethical living, sacred movement, and conscious breathing all nourish and expand the field. Neglect, harmful habits, and negative thought patterns constrict and distort it. The esoteric truth is that your aura evolves with you, recording the history of your consciousness as you travel through lifetimes. This understanding leads us to a radical implication. Your destiny is not entirely fixed. By refining the structure and vibrational quality of your aura, you can shift the trajectory of your life. The aura is both a mirror and a lever. It shows you where you are and gives you the means to change course. If Part 1 revealed the architecture of the aura, Part 2 unveils the machinery. The hidden processes through which your aura shapes reality, protects you, and serves as a bridge between the physical and the spiritual realms. One of the most important esoteric principles is that the aura is a translator between worlds. Your soul operates in dimensions far beyond the physical, but it is your aura that steps down those high-frequency impulses into a form your body and mind can comprehend. In the opposite direction, it carries your thoughts, intentions, and emotions upward, impressing them onto the subtle planes. This two-way communication is not random. It is governed by the geometry and frequency patterns embedded in your field. Ancient Hermetic teachings describe the aura as a living mandala, a set of sacred geometric patterns that constantly spin and shift in response to your consciousness. These patterns function like tuning forks. Whatever their shape and vibration, they will draw in matching experiences and repel those that are incompatible. But the aura's functions go beyond attraction and repulsion. It also serves as a spiritual shield. When harmonious and strong, it forms a luminous barrier that filters out toxic energies and psychic interference. In mystical traditions, this was sometimes called the garment of light or the robe of radiance. However, this shield is not made of brute force, it is made of coherence. A perfectly tuned field doesn't have to fight against negativity. Disharmonious energies simply cannot lock onto it. There is also a memory aspect to the aura. Every intense emotional experience, every significant decision, and every act of will leaves an energetic imprint. Over time, these imprints form a kind of soul history, stored not in your brain, but in your energy field. Skilled adepts can read these imprints, perceiving not just events from this life, but echoes from past incarnations. This is why certain fears, desires, or gifts seem to appear from nowhere. They are residues from the deep memory of your aura. And then there is the phenomenon of auric projection. Just as you can project your voice across a room, you can project your aura outward, extending your influence beyond the range of your physical presence. Charismatic leaders, healers, and mystics often unconsciously do this, filling a space with a palpable atmosphere of inspiration, peace, or awe. In trained hands, auric projection becomes a conscious tool for healing, teaching, or spiritual transmission. Yet, with all this power, there is a warning. A distorted aura, whether through chronic negativity, trauma, or misuse of psychic abilities, can not only attract harmful experiences, but also unintentionally transmit chaos to others. The aura amplifies whatever it contains. This is why ancient initiates were required to purify their thoughts, emotions, and intentions before being taught higher energy work. Ultimately, the aura's esoteric function is to act as your personal cosmos, a micro-universe that both reflects and shapes your relationship to the greater whole. Its harmony or disharmony doesn't just influence your life, it participates in the vast symphony of consciousness that we call reality. When your aura is luminous, balanced, and open to the divine, you do not merely live in the world. You help the world itself become more radiant. The beauty of esoteric knowledge is that it is never meant to remain theory. It must be lived, practiced, and embodied. The aura is not a static halo you are born with. It is a living field that responds to your daily choices, thoughts, and spiritual practices. Strengthening your aura is less about adding something and more about restoring its natural coherence. Let us begin with aura cleansing. Think of this as clearing the dust from a mirror so that it can reflect the light more perfectly. One of the simplest yet most potent methods is saltwater immersion. Ancient mystics valued salt for its ability to break up stagnant energies. A warm bath with sea salt, not table salt, draws out auric debris, leaving the field clearer. If a bath is not possible, even a foot soak with salt water, followed by rinsing in fresh water, can be effective. Breath and light visualization is another powerful method. Stand with feet firmly grounded, close your eyes, and inhale deeply through the nose. As you breathe in, imagine drawing in pure, golden light from the cosmos above your head. As you exhale, see that light radiating through every layer of your aura, burning away distortions, cleansing old imprints, and replacing them with harmony. Done daily for 5 minutes, this alone can gradually transform the frequency of your field. Next comes aura strengthening. Here, movement is key. Practices like Tai Chi, Qigong, or sun salutations in yoga are not merely for physical health. They are subtle energy exercises. They move prana or qi through the body, naturally fortifying the auric layers. Even a slow, mindful walk in nature, breathing in rhythm with your steps, can feed your aura with fresh life force. Another ancient technique is sound attunement. Toning sacred syllables such as OM or AH, while focusing on the heart or crown chakra, sends coherent sound waves rippling through the field, ironing out distortions and amplifying luminosity. Some traditions use bells, chimes, or singing bowls for the same effect. The key is to let the sound vibrate your entire being. Finally, we turn to aura expansion. Once your field is cleansed and strong, you can consciously extend it to influence your environment. In a quiet space, center yourself and visualize your aura as a radiant sphere of light surrounding you. With each breath, see it growing larger, first filling the room, then the building, then stretching out over the landscape. As you expand it, infuse it with the quality, peace, compassion, joy that you wish to radiate. In time, you will notice that people around you feel lighter, calmer, or more inspired without knowing why. But remember, the most powerful aura work is not about techniques alone. It is about integrity of being. Acts of kindness, authenticity, gratitude, and self-honesty naturally brighten the field. In truth, your aura is a direct expression of your inner state. The more aligned you are with your higher nature, the more your aura becomes not just a shield or tool, but a blessing to all it touches. The aura is not an ornament of the soul. It is its living signature. It tells the story of your inner life in ways words never could. Every thought, every feeling, every action writes itself into this luminous field, creating a personal atmosphere that others sense, whether consciously or not. We have journeyed through its ancient roots, explored its layers and functions, and uncovered ways to cleanse, strengthen, and expand it. But here is the deeper truth. Your aura is a bridge between the invisible and the visible, the spiritual and the physical. It is both a shield and a beacon, protecting you while broadcasting your essence into the world. The more you live in alignment with your higher self, through truthfulness, compassion, and conscious awareness, the more your aura becomes a force of harmony. In this state, you no longer merely walk through life. You influence the unseen currents that weave the very fabric of reality. So, take this knowledge not as something to admire from a distance, but as a living practice. Notice how your aura feels when you are joyful, when you are calm, and when you are in service to others. Learn to recognize the subtle shifts and tend to it as you would a sacred garden, removing the weeds, watering it with presence, and letting the sunlight of spirit nourish it. And remember, your aura is not just about you. Every time you expand it with love, clarity, or peace, you contribute to the collective field of humanity. In this way, the work you do for your own energy becomes a quiet act of planetary service. Guard it, nurture it, let it shine. For the clearer and stronger your aura, the more you walk as a luminous soul in a world hungry for light.